how are you tonight? Need it one more time because I'm really tired. How are you guys doing tonight? All right. So we're gonna go through real fast. Who has actually played 16? Yes! Because if you're here, you're about to get spoiled pretty bad.
Because it is the Final Fantasy.
I'm just going from the beginning. I'm gonna get in the mood for this panel. However much they gave me to use. Welcome back to the land of Final Fantasy XVI. Please welcome our guest, Starr.
There's so many.
I like this entrance we've started. We did that earlier. Yeah.
I want to make sure everyone sees all of me when I walk on. Look at this. You're breathtaking. Did you see Keanu Reeves is doing Waiting for Godot with Alex Winter? For anyone who knows that is Bill and Ted doing Waiting for Godot on Broadway. That's fucking mad.
Before we start, it looks like I already have some gifts from the audience, so please take one of these.
Whoa! This says L3 and R3 to accept the truth. Thank you so much.
I shall not accept the truth. I'll stick it on anyway.
That'd be weird.
So you ready to, oh no. Nothing to see
I
here.
literally just wet myself.
Oh.
We're a bit jet lagged, so.
No, we appreciate you being here today. And hopefully you're willing to answer some questions. Maybe there's some serious, maybe there's some silly questions, but hopefully we're all energized for that. So we're going to go through two parts here. I have some pre-prepared questions. And then, as you can see here, they're already filling out questions.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
So we'll have the QR code up again, so you won't be able to ask any questions. So here we go. First question is for you, Ben.
Yeah.
We know that you're a Final Fantasy fan. Did you imagine yourself being a part of the Final Fantasy franchise?
No. No. I didn't. I still don't think that I am, and that is such a weird thing to say, considering I fucking am. But it's this kind of dissociated relationship I have with this whole thing, because, I would imagine everyone in this room, Final Fantasy is like the most important thing to you. And it's when people say, I may have said this before in podcasts, I'm sorry, I've done so many of them. Maybe 3 days into recording, a great friend and colleague, Morgan Rushton, who was on the localization team, was one of the performance directors, was with me throughout the entire process. He said, how does it feel to be the lead in Final Fantasy XVI? And I said, this is like the biggest thing that will ever happen to me. And he was like, well, what about being in Star Wars? And I said, Morgan, this is my Star Wars. It's the franchise that showed me the possibility of storytelling. It's the franchise that made me fall in love with characters in a way that I never felt I could fall in love with characters. And so to feel like I'm a part of that legacy is still something that I don't think I'll ever come to terms with. And people can tell me that I am a part of it, but I'm still like, no, you're lying. But it's a truly, truly amazing thing. So to answer your question, no.
I appreciate the Robo's response. This one's for you, Nina. Your character, Benedicta, is an early antagonist, and we learn a lot about her character in the early part of the game. Are there parts of her character you wanted to explore more of that you didn't get a chance in the time that she was in the game?
Yeah.
And so that was an outfit.
I mean, so when I auditioned for the part, I was given like a backstory, a brief backstory of her life. And I do wish that we had gone into it more. I also wished for her redemption, like I wanted her to like come back. And I've been telling everyone who's come to see me today to tag Square Enix and be like, we want Benedicta's redemption. I think there's so much more to her than meets the eye. There's a reason why people become the way that they are, and when we were recording, I tried to kind of keep in mind all of her backstory, everything that I'd learned about her, and try and convey that in the voice and in her emotions. So yeah, I mean, I would love to explore more. If the opportunity ever arises, I'm going to be there, ready.
I do think that the reason people want more Benedicta is she's a great character, but I do think also it's your performance as to why people want it. In another performer's hands wouldn't have been so effective. I remember playing it for the first time and thinking just like, fucking go. You just absolutely popped off, and I was like, oh my, you turned an antagonist into a person that we wanted to root for and felt really bad about getting rid of them. And there's this moment that I feel in the game that I feel it's quite mean when Clive says it, where he tells Kuka, I did it, about the severing of Benedicta's head. And it's a really, and he like does it, it's like, yeah, she deserved it. And I'm like, oh,
I was understanding, he didn't know it.
To that part, and you were like,
yeah, I was like, oh my God, what am I saying? But you are so brilliant in that role, and I think that's the reason why that question, I imagine you get all the time, because you're so good.
thank you. That means so much. Generous actor, and you're always so generous on panels as well. Thank you so much.
I also hate you as well.
I was going to say, jumping off that, it was always so fun when you were recording to like if the other person's lines had already been recorded. Like, of course, we didn't. Most of the time, you're not with anyone else. And I didn't meet you until the game came out. Actually, that's the first time I met was the day that the game came out. So I heard the performance. Yeah, I think so.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So you were hearing these performances, and you're like, "Whoa, this is good." And like, it's always disappointing when like you don't have anyone to respond to. So you're like, "Oh, thank you for listening to
Did you
me."
so you heard my pre-recorded lines in your sessions?
If I was a scene you were in, I did. You played it.
Amazing. I didn't hear anyone's lines.
You asked to be alone.
I think I was like one of the only actors who didn't do like partner recordings. You got to do recordings. Did you get to do recordings with others?
We did stuff.
You guys did.
Yeah.
I was left alone because they were like, nah, let's just keep like we we don't want to traumatize the other actor. She's too loud, and let's just like keep her.
You said this at PAX though. You did get a round of applause though in your audition.
Okay, so this is slightly embarrassing because maybe I was over-exaggerating. This is how I remember it.
Anyone giving you applause when you do anything?
You live the life that you want to live, like you know. No, it's true. Like you kind of like manifest the life you want. So yeah, whenever I walk into a room, I do get an applause.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we were talking about dialogue and playing off each other, so once both you, Ben, and Jonathan. One of the main themes in this game are the relationships Clive forms with different people. Was it interesting to explore a more unique brother dynamic through the course of this story?
Yeah.
Yes. We kind of knew each other anyway.
Yeah.
So it was and then we had those in-person sessions quite early on together.
Yeah.
Like actually really early on. So, and it was kind of chronological. We did jump back and forth a lot.
But the recording was very interesting because essentially it was chronological, and then it wasn't. So the main beats of that story were done really early. So a lot of the stuff that was done towards the end of the game, that was done like early doors. And so, like most tempos, like, right, these are the huge tempo moments, they're recorded, they're in the bag, and then how do those moments flesh out? So like, a lot of that stuff, like, you're my brother, like, that was done like really early on. And then we found more dynamics of figure, like all the kind of the nuances and the friction between them that would kind of come between that kind of, you know, brothers you haven't seen in a while, happened in between them. Yeah.
And I do think that like the order in which we recorded it was beneficial. It also what's weird is you are learning about the story as you're going and working on the game as well. So like we're like banking, like okay, they don't have the full script. I don't know, do you have analysis or anything like that?
I did have the full script because I'm great. And I read all of it and I knew everything. Because it's happening on the fly. Game development it's a relationship between story, gameplay, everything. So, you know, what the devs are doing is they're creating something that we then have to facilitate through our own performance. And sometimes something that we did on the day isn't quite fitting to what they've now done situationally. So we just have to change all the time. But when it comes to like our relationship,
and I just left the channel.
It's really cool, and what's been so lovely is you put something out there, and people respond to so many things about this game, depending on where they are in their life. They feel like they're being seen in some ways, and I think because it is a theme of people in, you know, not in their teens, 20s and 30s, which is where a lot of us kind of like grew up with this franchise, they're seeing whatever they want to see that they're going through. So whether it's a kind of a relationship with a partner, or whether it's a relationship with a brother, or whether it's a relationship with a parent, that is what people see. And we've had so many people come up to us and be like, I reconnected with my brother for the first time in 20 years. Or like the moment when you've all finished the game. Who hasn't finished the game? Shut your ears right now.
No, they assume the risk as soon as they know it.
When they fuck. No.
I don't think we're allowed to say that in the
We cut that out. We had to take it in a different direction. It was really similar to that scene in Final Fantasy X-2 when you're doing the massage sequence. It was basically that. No, it's serious everyone. Serious panel about brotherly love. I've read the fan fiction. And in that scene where Joshua is dead, and Clive...
So not the bits where I'm doing my acting bit when I've got...
You're doing the acting bit. By the way, that scene, can we talk about that scene? Can we talk about that scene? That's a 9.5-minute scene. So this is the moment when Joshua sacrifices himself in order to save the day, essentially. but Clive has already lost Joshua before, and he doesn't want to lose him again. And there's that overwhelming sacrifice. It's like, I'm giving everything up. You need this power in order to be ultimate. And I remember going into the booth, and what we would see is a very rudimentary version of the scene in front of us. We'd see where the characters are, and we'd basically have the things attached to our head, and we'd have the lines along there. And this is how long it's going to take, and then map the facial movements to the character. You'd already done your stuff.
Right.
So you've done your, I'm dying. Still dying. But I remember Morgan saying to me, that a 9.5-minute scene will probably take about 4 hours, really, it should be. Because of how you want to break that down. Technically, that's very difficult to do.
I like sometimes you'll have a line that's like, look over there, and it'll take you 45 minutes. Not right, but...
It's hard to do, technically it's hard to do, but I said, no, I don't know what's going to be in the scene. I'm gonna raw dog the scene. Fucking strap me in that. And so I went, no, I'm just gonna do this blind. And because it already had your lines, I did it in one take. And the scene, and then actually afterwards they went, oh, we need to do it again. Because like it changed. So the second time, essentially, you see it entirely in one take. So that scene where Joshua dies, where he breaks down, where Clive is like, no. All of that was like, it's completely reactionary. And it's entirely because your scenes were done. And I was reacting to you dying in my arms, essentially. And it was this amazingly moving thing because you'd already done your stuff.
Yeah.
And it meant that like, when you give your last breath, I was like, fucking floods of tears. Like, just like screaming and shouting. It's like, the note was primal scream. It was like the exhaustion of your entire, everything was just like, lets out scream, lets out shout, cries of agony. That's all the note was. I'm like, I don't know, maybe this. But it worked because you'd already done your stuff.
That's really cool. I think there was so much like, I can't think of the word, but like, things falling into place in the recording process that just aided our process, all of our actors, like all of our process, you know. And like getting to know you, it was a long recording process, and like getting to know like them, later with you. Like, you know, that has to be knowing and like appreciating your colleagues, and then being a friend. I mean, with this, it was unbelievable for our relationship as well.
Awesome. So we're going to next one. This one's for Nina and Jonathan. Were you aware of the franchise before you were cast in your respective roles?
Yes.
Is this just going to be one-word answers? We're going to have to finish in like another 10 minutes.
Look, I hadn't grown up playing it, but I felt the weight on my shoulders. I was like, this thing is huge. And also you don't know what, I've said this to people today, you don't, rarely ever do you know what game you are in when you book the job. Mm-hmm. Because like, they're so tight on the script, they don't even want to tell you what you're in. I was saying earlier, I've got a friend who thinks that they might be in a new Dragon Quest game. Like he thinks,
what the fuck? Well, but like, journalists in.
But like, I don't think I can get in trouble for that because they have no idea.
Okay, right.
You don't know what you're doing.
Right, cool.
And I genuinely didn't know that this is not in any way, oh my gosh.
Oh, let's just say inside scoop, we're just gonna like get this all over.
If there are any journalists in, Dragon Quest might be into
No! I mean,
at least you didn't say like, my friend thinks they're in the Final Fantasy VIII remake. Do you know what I mean?
all that to say, like, I worked out I was in this game over the course of many months, and then when I did, I was terrified because it was, but also like filled with excitement and like I couldn't quite believe it was this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same.
I was really naive going into this, and I remember all of a sudden, like, so I had a tiny little part in 14. So I knew of it, but I don't know, as a voiceover artist, like you go in and you record so many games and you're not really told about what they are. So I didn't think that much about it. And I was told it was Final Fantasy 16 whilst we were recording, but still I didn't really think it was a big deal because I was kind of like removed from this whole thing. And then all of the what do you call it, the scenes, as they were like, as we were leading up to the release, a lot of my scenes were released online, and then all of a sudden my socials blew up, and I remember coming to you being like, what is going on? But is this...
You thought it'd been leaked. You were like, is there a leak? Am I allowed to talk about it?
Oh yeah, true.
It was just like they just released gameplay on it, and you were messaging me really nervous.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on? And then you were like, okay, just be prepared, like, this is gonna blow up. And I was like, what is this, friend? Like, what? And then I did a whole week of just like reading about the whole franchise, like leading up to the release in London. And that's when I realized that, oh shit, I'm part of a big deal here. And I'm still kind of like a bit naive about it, I think, whenever I come to these cons or I'm invited to come to these cons, I'm like overwhelmed by, by the love from everyone. And yeah, I'm still kind of a little bit naive, I think, going into it.
I also don't think it means that there's this, I recognise as a person who plays these games, you want to feel like the people who are playing your characters care about the characters that they're playing, and they care about the franchise, and they treat you with the care that you take care of your franchise, right? You don't want someone to be like, I come in, you're fucking journeyman, coming in and like doing the lines and then not caring. Because as a person who enjoys those games, I want to feel like the actor is giving the respect that I'm giving to it. I want to feel like I can go up to them and say, I like your work, and I don't want them to be dismissive of the work because they did like a couple of hours in Soho and that was it. Because that's not nice, because it's like, I care about it. But I also don't think it necessarily diminishes the quality of the work that they do. Just because they don't know about the project doesn't mean that people aren't giving it their all. And I think we've been so lucky with how warmly the cast have been embraced by the Final Fantasy community, and it like you not knowing that it's Final Fantasy did not matter because you were cast because you're a brilliant performer and you knew the context of your character and you came in and fucking smashed it and laughed. Do you know what I mean? Like you went.
Again, there are two times.
No, you did. You not knowing. I think the beauty of what, you don't have to have played these games or know these games to understand the responsibility that you have, and no one's expecting you to know everything about it.
To be fair, actually, I think it was quite helpful for me that I didn't know what a huge franchise this was, because I was really relaxed and sort of like ready to literally just focus on Benedicta's scenes and her journey and not think about that, oh shit, this is a big responsibility. I actually think that might have ruined it for me, if anything. So, yeah. Going forward, I don't want to know what games.
You could be in the next Dragon Quest game. By the way, you're fine. Good.
Yeah, I was like saying, as the words were coming out of my mouth, I was like, this is really stupid. Anyway.
You don't know. You don't. Yeah, I get people messaging me because they know that I can pretty much tell what video games. If you just send me like the artwork and like give me those NDA, then like I know what game that is.
Yeah.
And so like I get a lot of colleagues being like, what game is this? Because we don't get given context. Actually, sometimes context is really, really important. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what the game is, but I'm in a game, and it's super, super important to know, because I went and I did an audition, the casting director sent me these sides, and they sent me a brief, and I gave a great audition, but they then sent it back and they went, do you know what the game is? And I went, no, and they said, this is the game, and I went, oh, fuck. I went, I'll do another take, because the performance that I gave was right for the notes that I was given, but it was not right for the game. It was just completely different. And so, had I not been given that bit of guidance from the casting director going, ignore the code name, this is the game, because there is a stylistic quality to what those games are, or what this game is, instantly you're like, I know that.
Yeah. And if it's campy, if it's really serious, like, it's going to really impact whether or not they see you as a character, and,
You just inspired me to do some research now, actually.
Yeah. If you could just do a modicum of the work, that would be I think it would really help you. But I think that it can be helpful. It can be, sometimes we don't need to know, but in that instance, knowing what the game was, I was like, cool, great, go back, did it, bam, smashed it, cool. But the first read now is so ludicrous that I would have sent that knowing what the game is. So yeah.
Very smart.
That's awesome.
I apologize. I'm sorry, are we boring you?
No, you are very entertaining. I had 3 hours.
You're doing an incredible job.
Yeah.
You're doing the work of 50 people.
Are you enjoying it so far? This is for everybody. Was there a character in the game other than yours that you found compelling?
Yeah.
This one requires an action.
And there's the obvious one, but there is a side character that I love. And there's a side character called Yakin. And you find Yakin, I think you find him in Auckland, and you go on a mission, and he's a historian who takes you on a journey. And Clyde's like, why are we doing this? But Yakin is like, well, here's what's happening here. And the whole journey, and I'm like, I love Yakin. And the entire buoyancy of him, and he just keeps getting beaten up. And I just thought, this guy has a zest for life. He's a moron. Forever. And the performance, Peter Polycarpou is this amazing actor who works a lot in British TV, and he plays him. And that's the great thing about this game, they've got these just remarkable British actors to play, big parts, small parts, and whatever. And Peter Polycarpou is so good in that role that I even stopped and went, I want to play him instead. So yeah, he's brilliant simply because of the freedom that he was performing in comparison to us 3 years into Clive. I was thinking, am I any good? And there's this guy that comes up with this zesty camp joy. And I was like, I love Yakin. I hope he doesn't die.
I love Yakin now.
He's great. As you go do that quest, essentially you're going killing some stuff, but whatever, he is fab in that.
So maybe someone might be able to help me here. I actually played a few minor roles in 16 as well, but there was one role which is this woman who's just fawning over all of the male characters in the game. I forgot her name.
Asta.
Yes, Asta. Okay, so I recorded Asta. And she's quite interesting, actually. And I remember coming in and I was like, I'm going to do something completely bonkers with this. Because she's fawning over the men. I was like, no, I want to bring something else into her. So I remember speaking to Morgan and Ollie about this, who were directing us in the session. I was like, I really want to make her as vulgar as possible. She's just out for the meat. And they were like, yeah, maybe. Let's just see how it goes. And so I did it, and it was actually one of the funnest sessions ever.
Can you give us what she sounds like?
It's like, oh, that was amazing. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Restrained.
Very restrained, yeah. And I think we all had a really fun session, and then I went home, very pleased with my performance. And then the next week I get a call and they're like, we need to re-record it. This was not approved by the Japanese team. So I re-recorded her to what she sounds like now. But I think there's like a bigger story behind Asta, basically, that wasn't explored. Yeah.
Putting it out there as well.
I'm just putting that out there as well. Yeah, it's a tag square unit.
Like a
You want
film.
more Asta.
Film of the week, Benedict and that's Asta.
Yeah, that Asta. Yeah.
I mean, look, Dion, like to have it. For there to be a queer, openly queer character, there are so many stories where I'm like, yeah, this is queer coded, and it's like, okay, show me where, you know. For it to be explicitly in the story to such a degree, and so beautifully written, honestly, two very real, antagonists as well. But I just think we needed that. We needed that for a long, long time. And even playing Joshua in the game, as I say, you're learning about the story as it's going on. And I was like, oh my god, look at these guys. It meant so much to me personally as well. Just seeing that was the choice they'd made, and that it was handled so beautifully. Yeah, I loved it.
Again, for everybody, epic storytelling is one of the hallmarks of a good RPG like Final Fantasy. What epic story could you see becoming a compelling RPG that you would play?
I'd love to see Succession. But yeah, I'd love to see that.
That's a good question. I mean, I recently watched Baby Reindeer. That could be fun.
Starr.
Very dark.
Yeah. It's not what have we watched recently.
It's a tough question.
Do you know what? I think it's a really good question because I don't know if any of you have seen recently. There's a trailer that came out of the Xbox Showcase called Expedition 33. It's a cool game, but it's a cool game because it's an entirely new IP, and I think that's what we need more of. We need more stories. I think we are unfortunately in a world, I love it when people say, do you want Final Fantasy VIII remade? I love that. What I would love is people to feel the way that they felt when they first played Final Fantasy VIII. It's a sense of discovery and for the first time, and for that we need new stories told in a new way that is exciting, and the joy that is backing behind what Samford is doing with Expedition 33 is this is a whole new story and a whole new world that I get to explore. It's not revisiting my nostalgia, even though that is incredibly powerful and joyful. It is about pushing forward and telling new stories in a way that feels familiar but is fundamentally different and building on the building blocks that we already know. So for me, I'm always interested in new properties. That's what excites me. And there is power and joy in us remastering and remaking all of these things because it's so amazing, but also let's build for the future, not always look to the past.
Yeah. I feel like good art comes with taking risks as well. Flops happen sometimes, but then they can become cult classics. Let's take risks. And, I love that answer so much.
Yeah. I think I'm always fascinated by the discourse that happens around the Game Awards, SGF, E3, RIP. But when you see people discuss what games they want to see, it's always, I want to see this 2, or this 3, or this remake, or this that. And that's because fundamentally we cannot understand what we don't know. And so people go, I want that feeling, but I want that feeling again with a bigger budget, as opposed to the joyful things that we have hugely celebrated for the past couple of years are experiences that were on no one's radar beforehand. And I think that's the great thing, the sense of discovery, the sense of knowing something that we did not know before is so much more powerful than expecting something and being sated to the extent that we knew that it was going to be fine. Is the sequel to this going to be good? Yeah, great, fun. Played it, moved on. It's the, oh my god, this game I've never heard of before. This is new, and that sense of discovery is so much more powerful than the sense of satisfaction, I would say.
I made a quick comment about the question in general, and the answers in general, the answers I'm getting to these questions, totally not what I was expecting, especially this question. I expected for you to go and say, oh yeah, well, I like these kind of stories, and I think you should do that. I really love the answer. I just want to say that. That was a really awesome answer.
Oh, cool. Thank you. We all remains.
And I would like Wallace and Gromit. Let's go with the world.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to start asking the best part of the panel here, all your questions, and I'm looking at them right now. I just shake my head. But you better read them.
I'll read some, yeah.
Yeah. You can turn over here. I'm kind of scared. I saw these questions. I know who all of you are.
Did you get the role of Mario?
Wild questions.
Okay, so in answer to the role of Mario, now that went to an amazing voice actor called Kevin Afghani, who is a brilliant voice actor. He's also in Warframe 1999 with me. Yeah, he plays Amir, who's Bolt in that, so that was quite a fun thing. Anyway, questions?
I didn't get Wario. I didn't hear back.
Stop moving this, everyone. Stop moving it, everyone.
It's getting a new question, so just go into the end.
Yeah, what do you want this one? Oh, Ben, did you use method acting for that scene with Clive naked and in check?
Who wrote that question?
The joke's on you, I'm always naked. Jonathan Case, what was your favourite line?
I said this a lot. I just said, sometimes I would say just Clive.
Yeah.
I would be there for like a full session, there would just be 18 different Clives. So it's got to be Clive.
Mine would be Joshua.
They sometimes would be like, I think we got that one already. I'd be like, that was so nuanced and different.
Yeah, you gave a lot of variety. So it's so disingenuous. So all of us, what was the most memorable scene for you?
That we recorded or that?
That you did. Just a thing that you go, oh, that was cool.
I just really loved the scene where she loses the Buddha powers. For me, that was like, I just had so much fun doing that. And I remember back to that, I'm like, I could have done it again. Yeah, that's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
I just got like, punching you. I was like, okay, you really nailed it. But also like story-wise, I think it's a really interesting character beat. It's suddenly he's like, do you know what, like, you don't get to get away with this. And it is really, like, obviously it's meant with violence, but I feel like it's meant as a learning with love in a weird way. So, you know, to see it different sides, I'm sure.
Mine is not one of the ones that I thought, the difference between the scenes I thought were great when we recorded them and then actually resonated with people, I think is quite interesting. The scene that seems to do the rounds on social media all the time is the scene in which Clive is reunited with Annabella for the first time. And yeah, it's a cool scene. And for those who can't quite remember, it's Clive and Jill entering with Torgal. And I confront Annabella and we see Olivier there and says, "This is the child that you made with the Emperor," and then goes off about you know, this is what essentially she did and the disdain with which she treated Clive and Joshua their entire lives. And it's a scene that at the time I didn't think was particularly good. And I don't think, not that I think it was particularly good, is that I thought it was quite a dangerous, reckless read of the lines because it was a very particular angle that we went for. And it wasn't until afterwards when people were like, actually, it's quite a good scene, that like the dissonance between what you think you're doing and actually how it's received was so starkly shown to me with how well that scene was received.
Yeah, totally.
And I didn't think it would be, because then that immediately follows Joshua flying through the thing, being reunited, then standing back, turning into a freak, boom, boom, 500, music playing. It's the most like hype 40 minutes of video game I've played in a really long time, because it goes from like intense drama, intense action, intense pathos, like it's like this like knee-jerk everything.
Totally. You have to trust the directors know what emotional point the story is at.
Yeah.
Is the lesson, I suppose. Because I had seen that thing where they were like, bigger? And I was like, really?
Well, I really love that scene afterwards where Joshua and Clive are reunited for the first time and they're like holding each other's faces.
Yeah.
And it's that really... Yeah, do scream. Do scream. No, scream, let it out. Don't be scared. Because it's beautiful. It's really, it's a really, I think sometimes we can get scared about, you know, this idea of what masculinity is and what tenderness and emotion is, but that feeling of someone that you genuinely love and actually holding each other's faces and being like, you're physically real, you're real, and there's something so really lovely about the proximity there.
I completely agree. In general, I think, going back to the brother thing, I think they're written so beautifully, and I mean the whole, you know, every department conveyed so beautifully that these two are not afraid of like just being themselves around each other and also like speaking their feelings to each other, which I think in life is often quite unusual, especially for brothers, I would say. I don't know about necessarily, but like siblings in general, like this is kind of great movie with two siblings. We've got that.
We've got a question for Nina. Did you also enjoy voicing Ulinet in Final Fantasy XIV, or did you hate it? That wasn't part of the question. Sorry, let me rephrase the question. What did you hate about voicing Ulinet in Final Fantasy XIV?
What did I hate about voicing?
You don't have to answer that.
Doing the Icelandic accent. That's a hard one, actually.
How many languages do you speak?
I speak 3.
What?
Icelandic is not one of them. Although I've actually been learning a little bit because as a Scandinavian actor, I get any Scandinavian parts. Like, they're like Icelandic, Finnish I get even. And Finnish isn't close to the Scandinavian languages, it's actually closer to Hungarian. But still, I get Finnish. So, yeah, I hate those accents, but now I'm sort of like slowly trying to learn them, and yeah, don't get me wrong, I actually love Icelandic. I think it's the most beautiful language, and I wish I could speak it.
You do that well.
Oh, thank you. It's alright. An Icelandic person might be very offended, who knows?
Sorry, I've actually got a really important question, Jonathan. I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
This is an important question for all of you, actually. What is your favourite Ben Starr meme?
Oh, the one where you're like, was that at the Games Awards?
That's your tomato moment.
So, a bit of history about this. Strap in. So it was, that was taken. They were doing that incredible live performance of Final Fantasy VII music at the Game Awards, where they had that singer come on and sing the piece of music, and they thought, I'll tell you what cut to, Ben Starr. He loves Final Fantasy. And I made a point of that. The night, I always wanted to go to the Game Awards. I was going to turn my phone off, put it in my pocket, leave it alone. Had a great time, saw loads of cool trailers, got really kind of like hyped for all the stuff. I was having the best time. And then, yeah, the lights were crazy. And they shined this crazy light on my face. And then I just saw this camera in front of me. I went, well, that's fine. There's no way that would be just a very bad idea. But the performer in me was like, no, look ahead. I don't know if you know, there's my plus one to the Game Awards was a wonderful screamer, Jessie Cox. Jesse's in like complete darkness. And so anyway, yeah, that happened, and I clapped and blah, 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 blah. Of course, there's nothing, that's such a non-moment. And then he's not here because he's a coward. But Sean, who is the kind of head of video at Square Enix, clipped it and then put it on the internet and went, that's the funniest thing ever. And suddenly, he was like, I'm loving it because I'm getting loads of likes. Suddenly, it's like I'm being used in the commercial to God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. I've used it to sell Sony PlayStation. Everyone jumped on this whole thing, and then Square Enix were like, is it okay if we use the meme as well? Like, you've already fucking created it. And it was great because it just kept being used more and more. But I didn't know about it until about 20 minutes afterwards, and a guy who tapped me on the shoulder who was actually the game director of God of War Ragnarok, who still says his most famous moment is being in the back of the Ben Starr game. He tapped me on the shoulder, he went, excuse me, you're a meme now? I was like, what? And I was like, oh, yeah. But I've got to say, the most joyful thing about that is like how creative people were. Like when I was like, my favourite one was this guy who put me in Joel's arms at the beginning of The Last of Us. It's honestly, some of the work is incredible. And I still get it, you know, if anyone is like, has a light shot on them, like, it's just like Ben Starr me straight away. So thank you for your inventiveness, thank you for thinking of me, because Lord knows I didn't get anything else that night. But it was, it was an amazing moment, and I'm so thankful for that happening to me, because it was the coolest thing ever. Jonathan, what's your favourite Ben Starr meme, please? Honestly, you say you can't remember, there are so many.
I'm going to say the guy himself.
The what?
The walking, living
Ben Starr.
Yeah!
You've yet to see your Luigi. So I did this Mario thing. You remember that, like, I did this thing where I pretended to audition for Mario. And this time last year, we were at PAX West, and we were actually allowed into Nintendo Live because of the Mario meme. The Nintendo PR let us like skip the queue and go in and just have fun in Nintendo Live because you pretended to be Wario. Galactus himself, Ralph Einstein, was Peach. It was crazy. We actually did a photo shoot in front of the giant Ifrit, and these amazing cosplayers had dressed up as Clive, Jill, Sid, but as their respective Mario.
Yeah.
It was Clive as Mario. It was Sid as Peach. It was Pikachu as Luigi. And we were having these like official photos in front of the giant Ifrit statue, and they were like, "Is this okay?" We were like, "It's fine."
I remember there were questions about this, like, are we allowed to do this?
Yeah. No, and we weren't, but we did. Who's your favourite character from Final Fantasy VIII? Hi guys. The answer is Questis Mulan.
I can't choose, they're all great.
They're all great.
Have you seen that thing?
Have you seen this?
For like the last 45 minutes already.
How long do we have?
We have about 5 minutes.
What do you want? What do you want? Do you want to like chat about stuff?
We can do a human pyramid over there.
Yeah, we can just do some poetry. What's amazing is there are like 134 questions, but they're all they're all essentially asking the same thing, which is, when are you all going to kiss? Like, when are you going to kiss? Kiss when? How do I kiss you? Where can I kiss you? One of them's just gone kiss, 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 kiss. That means, one says, do you like Kiss by Prince? Yeah. Have you seen the band Kiss live? No, I haven't, but I'd love to. Someone spelled Kiss with K-Y-S-S. That's crazy.
Which the answer is later on.
If you pay us enough money, we will. Setting up a Patreon to Kiss. Okay.
What's the very long? There's like some really long questions. They're fun.
Yeah, Ben Starr once called Ichiban Kasuga from Like a Dragon a tender lover. Who else do you think chose?
The iPad's off. The iPad's off.
Clive would not get. Ben Starr thinks Ichiban Kasuga would be a wonderful tender lover. I think he would love very well. He is an incredibly muscular man. But also, like, who's played Like a Dragon here? Anyone? That's not enough people. It's a great game. Ichiban Kasuga, sexy man, cool man. Go on.
I just saw Ben growling when? Question.
Who wrote that?
I'm intrigued. Like this.
Yeah, I missed that out. I put that under kissy, kissy, kissy. How does it feel being part of a more gritty and dark Final Fantasy? Also, hello from the fellow guy. How you doing?
Doing great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You enjoying it so far?
Sure. Yeah.
Enjoying a kiss later? No gap. I'll do it.
It'll get grittier.
Also like to be part of a dark Final Fantasy, because that is one of the things that is just genuinely one of the conversations about the tone of the game. What do you feel?
I did really enjoy it. Again, spoilers are out already in this room. Playing someone who, the prolonged illness and death was like kind of tough. Like, so I was always like, this guy's suffering hilariously. I was doing a year-long theatre job in London at the time, and my agent, when I got the job, was like, he's sometimes going to have 2 sessions and then do the show in the evening, and I guess someone was whoever was like, yeah, it's fine. He's going to have to do 2 or 3 coughs. Here we are. And I'm like, yeah, honestly, but just, what was I saying? But just being able to play that for real, I suppose, as real as possible, I really enjoyed. Like, it didn't shy away from the experience of something like that, I suppose. I enjoyed it as a weird way of saying it, but I appreciate being able to play that.
We're living in a blessed timeline because you have in the space of 9 months a very particular style of Final Fantasy coming out against an incredible piece of art in Rebirth that kind of comes out and is so tonally different in every single way. And we're lucky that these are technically in the same series, right? And nothing shows this being an anthology series more than those kind of tonal expressions about the motifs of whatever Final Fantasy is, It's not a consistent series, it's a series that explores the same ideas and motifs through different ways. And 16 very much explores those ideas in that way. And to be able to be given the freedom to explore them, sometimes not to everyone's taste, in the way that we did, was really cool. And I'm really glad that we were allowed as performers to do that and go to some really dark places, really not pleasant to be in, and it isn't for everyone. But for those who did, I think they got a lot out of it, and I don't think any of us, I'll never get to play a character like Clive again. I'll never get to do the stuff that I got to do with him, because I'll never be put at the reins of a game where you're playing as a character for 40 to 100 hours, But it's amazing, and I'm so glad that the people who did love the game, it really resonated with. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
we're all gonna get kisses later.
actually really want to thank the three for coming up today and actually doing this panel with us, with everyone here, asking all the questions. No, but this was really awesome, and I appreciate it. Thank you so
We
much.
appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Surprise prizes. Give me for the prize.
Ahmed's gonna sing.
I'll sing.
No, I'm not.
By the way, Stuart Clark, who plays Dion, has the most incredible singing voice. If you're ever in London, go and see Ms. Chavert in Les Mis. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you everyone for playing the game. This has changed all of our lives, and I hope you have a nice rest of the convention.